They say he never spoke after the war began. They called him the Ghost Captain. No one knew his real name. No one even knew if he was still alive. But every soldier on that field knew when everything went dark, when hope vanished, when fear crawled into their bones, he was there. They said you could feel him before you saw him. A presence moving through the fog, a man of silence in a world that had forgotten what silence felt like. He didn't command with shouts or speeches. He led with stillness. He led with calm. And somehow in a battlefield filled with chaos, explosions, and noise, that silence spoke louder than any order ever could. He had once been a regular officer, a man of family, of dreams, of laughter. But war changes everything. The first night of combat took his friends. The next took his voice. He never spoke again. Some said it was trauma. Some said it was guilt. But those who served beside him said he simply had nothing left to say, only things left to do. And that's where his legend began. They called him the Ghost Captain not because he vanished, but because he never sought to be seen. He'd move through the front lines without a sound, his steps barely touching the ground, his eyes scanning every inch of the horizon. He carried no radio, no insignia, no pride, just purpose. And in a war where everyone wanted to be a hero, he wanted to be a hero. He wanted to be effective. That's what made him dangerous and unforgettable. Because leadership isn't about rank or recognition. It's about presence. True leaders don't demand attention. They earn it quietly. When chaos struck, soldiers looked for him. Not because he promised victory, but because he made them believe they could survive. One soldier wrote in his journal, "When the Ghost Captain walked past us, it felt like fear itself took a step back." How does a man do that? How does someone command that kind of power without saying a word? The answer isn't in his weapons or his medals. It's in his mind. Psychologists have found that the most effective soldiers and athletes share one thing in common: emotional control. When your heart is racing, when adrenaline floods your body, when chaos blinds your logic, the average person loses 40% of their decision-making ability. But the calm mind sees everything. That's what the Ghost Captain mastered. Stillness in chaos. He understood that the battlefield isn't out there. It's in here. Every doubt, every fear, every distraction. That's where the real fight happens. He used silence like a weapon. While others filled the air with panic, he let quiet carve clarity. Science even proves it. Studies from the University of Pavia found that just 2 minutes of complete silence can lower stress more effectively than relaxing music. 2 minutes. Now imagine 2 years of disciplined quiet. That's what made him different. There was a night that changed everything. A mission gone wrong. 10 men trapped behind enemy lines. No radio, no backup, no chance. The commander froze. The men panicked. But the Ghost Captain, he just stepped forward, calmly. No words, just gestures. A tap on the shoulder, a nod, a look. Every move was deliberate, every breath timed. And within an hour, every man was safe. Later, one survivor said, "It felt like he already knew the ending before the story began." That's discipline. That's clarity. That's the reward of silence. You see, silence doesn't mean weakness. It means strength under control. Anyone can shout. Ooh. Few can command peace. The Ghost Captain wasn't the strongest, the fastest, or the loudest. He was the most composed. And that's why he survived. That's why some say he still walks the hills at night, watching over the world he once fought to protect. But maybe the truth is deeper. Maybe the Ghost Captain isn't just a man. Maybe he's a lesson, a reminder that real power doesn't announce itself. Real confidence doesn't need validation, and real warriors don't perform for attention. They move with intention. Because life, your life, is its own battlefield. You might not wear a uniform. You might not carry a rifle, but you're at war with your comfort zone, your doubts, your distractions. Every morning is a mission. Every decision is a move. Every failure is a test of strategy. So what would the Ghost Captain do? He wouldn't complain. He wouldn't quit. He'd observe. He'd adjust. He'd execute. He knew something most people never learn. Noise is easy. Stillness is hard, but stillness is where strength grows. When the world yells for your attention, your silence becomes your armor. The ghost captain understood discipline the way few ever will. He knew that motivation is temporary, but discipline is permanent. He lived by repetition, not emotion. He acted when tired. He moved when afraid. He fought when alone. That's why his legend remains. Most people quit at 40% of their true capacity. That's what Navy SEAL call the 40% rule. When your mind tells you you're done, you still have 60% left. The ghost captain lived beyond that limit. He didn't listen to his feelings. He listened to his mission. And that's the kind of mindset that changes everything. In war, in business, in life. So ask yourself, how often do you move with purpose? How often do you stop waiting for the perfect moment and just act? The ghost captain never waited for silence. He created it. He once said, or maybe someone said it for him, the silence is the strategy of the strong. Because when the world is loud, stillness becomes your superpower. And you can apply that today. Turn off the noise. Stop scrolling. Stop comparing. Focus on your mission, your health, your craft, your growth. Every great thing you want, confidence, success, peace, it's hiding in the silence you avoid. And when you learn to live there, you become unstoppable. The Ghost Captain isn't a story of war. It's a story of self-mastery, of a man who learned that the loudest victories happen quietly, within. So the next time life overwhelms you, when your plans fall apart, when people doubt you, when fear screams in your head, remember him. Remember the man who never spoke, but whose silence changed lives. Be like the Ghost Captain. Move quietly. Act decisively. Win privately. Because one day when people finally notice your success, they'll ask, where did this person come from? And like the Ghost Captain, you won't need to answer. You'll already be miles ahead, calm, focused, and unshakable. And in that moment, you'll realize the most powerful force in this world was never noise. It was silence. The kind of silence that builds strength, the kind that shapes warriors, the kind that defines legends, the kind that never dies. The Ghost Captain lives on, not in the echoes of battle, but in every soul that learns to fight quietly and rise beyond the noise.